Hey guys, Brian here, and sorry if the lighting isn't too great. It is around 11:30ish at night right now. Sony's press conference just ended a short while ago, but holy shit, did they have a great showing at this year's conference, and they may have just beat out everybody else, in my opinion. But first, to start off, they fucking finally showed off The Last Guardian. After so many times of them saying, it's not canceled, it's not canceled, they finally showed it off. It looks very similar to what we've seen before, and it's coming out next year. And it just seems really cool. You and your companion, the bird dog, seem to help each other traverse the environment. It looks like a vast world, and I can't wait to see more of it. And I can't wait to finally play this game. They followed up that big announcement with another huge announcement, which is Guerrilla Games' new IP, which is Horizon Zero Dawn, and they showed off a gameplay demo. It looks very far along, so that indicates that it might not be too long before we play this game. And it's kind of post-apocalyptic. AI has kind of taken over. There's like robot dinosaurs that you're hunting, and you play as a female protagonist, and you have this bow that has different ammo from what I see, and different variations. Seems like a really cool game. They didn't show off too much of it. I hope to see more, and I hope it doesn't take too much longer for Guerrilla Games to put out this new game. It seems like a game that they've been wanting to make forever before they got kind of stuck with Killzone for a while. They followed that up with Hitman. Yeah, it's just called Hitman this time. No absolution, blood money, no sort of colon whatever. It's just called Hitman this time from what I see, and there's 6 exclusive missions coming to the PlayStation 4, and they didn't really talk too much more about it, but it does, from what they showed, it is very beautiful, and I'm sure it'll be fun. I have yet to have played Absolution, which, from what I've seen, looked like a really good game, and revisionist memory reminds me that Blood Money was a very good game. I went back and tried to play that game on the HD remakes that they had on PS3, and the controls were terrible. I'm sorry, but they were. I couldn't hardly play that game because of the controls, and I'm sure Absolution fixed that, and I'm sure that Hitman, whatever they call it, if it's just Hitman, will be an incredible game. Then they talked a little bit about Street Fighter V, which is a PlayStation 4 exclusive. It will come to PC, but only console players will play it on PlayStation 4. They showed off a couple new characters, and that was pretty much it with Street Fighter V. Then No Man's Sky came out again, and I gotta admit, as much as I like how No Man's Sky looks, how it plays, I'm kind of sick of looking at it, and I just want to play the game. Honestly, I just want to play the game, and I don't even understand how the game plays. And that's a problem. I don't know what the main gameplay focus of this game is. Every time they show it off, you just go to a planet and look at stuff and discover stuff. What else is going on in this game, if anything? I just wish they would put Hello Games would just put their heads down and finish the game, and I would enjoy nothing more than not seeing the game until it's completed. But that being said, what they did show was very beautiful, but still very confusing because they didn't really show what the main focus of the game is. I understand there's so many planets that you can go visit, and so many of them that other people probably won't even find, but what is the purpose behind that, and why am I doing it? That's my questions about the game, and I'm sure they will eventually answer those questions, but I just rather them finish the game and show it off and tell me why I need to care about this game. Not to say I don't, but that's just my opinion. Then Media Molecule came out and talked about their new IP, Dreams, which also kind of very confusing. As good as this press conference was, those are the two most confusing pieces of this press conference: No Man's Sky and Dreams. Do you play these Dreams, or do you just make them and then people watch them? Is it all cinematics? Is there playable parts? They didn't really explain enough in this demo, and they continue. I don't know. I guess I just gotta see more, and it just seems like Media Molecule is getting weirder and weirder, and maybe that's not for the best. And I don't know if this game will be as big as a success as Little Big Planet was for them. Still more news though. Firewatch is coming to consoles first on PlayStation 4, and they showed off a short trailer. Looked very interesting, and I'm excited to play this indie game. It seems to have like a creepy element to it, and I'm interested in exploring that world and seeing what happens. Then Adam Boyes came out and talked about Destiny and their next big expansion pack coming out 9/15/2015, and that was pretty much a thing. They just showed off gameplay. It looked like more Destiny. I'm sure Destiny fans are going crazy right now, and I'm sure it will do very well, just as Destiny has always done. And that's pretty much it with Destiny. Then they showed off some more Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which is pretty familiar from what we've seen from other conferences, but they did show off the female protagonist, Evie, and how fucking badass she is. And I'll tell you what, if I do end up picking up this game, it will be solely just to play as the sister in the game, because all of the crazy stealth stuff they showed her doing was so much more interesting than any of the stuff they showed her brother doing. Sorry to say it, but Evie is a badass, and I can't wait to see more gameplay with her and see the differences that they make between her and her brother. Then they came out with, before I get on to Square Enix news, they have a Dreadful Crimes coming exclusively to PlayStation. That's Assassin's Creed. It's just more missions from Assassin's Creed. Exclusively PlayStation. I'm sure anybody who's an Assassin's Creed player will enjoy playing more Assassin's Creed. Then they talked a little bit about Square Enix and how PlayStation has always had a relationship with Square Enix, and everybody was kind of sitting there like, is this the moment? Is this the moment? Is it Final Fantasy VII Remake? And it wasn't, but it was this game called World of Final Fantasy, and it's kind of cartoony like, and it does look interesting, and I'm sure it'll be awesome, but they didn't show off too much of it. And then after that, the real reveal that everybody really was waiting for, Final Fantasy VII Remake is happening, and it is remade from the ground up. They took back the, well, I mean, I'm sure Final Fantasy VII, the PC port's still coming to PS4, but they untrolled us by saying that an actual Final Fantasy VII Remake from the ground up, new graphics, new gameplay, character models, all of this, coming out to PS4 first. So it's not exclusive, but it is coming first to PlayStation 4. And they just showed off a short teaser that was pretty much the opening of the game, and everybody went crazy. And I can't believe that we're finally getting a Final Fantasy VII proper remake, and I can't wait to sit down and play this game. I think it will be something that I sink many, many hours into, and I'm interested in seeing what kind of changes they bring to Final Fantasy VII, because it'd be easy to just remake every little thing the way it used to be and just have it up, super updated graphics, looking like a PS4 game. But what also would be interesting is seeing tweaks to the gameplay and maybe even the story in some parts, and seeing the different elements that may have been dated or may be dated now be upgraded. So that was huge news, and everybody lost their shit whenever Final Fantasy VII Remake finally got announced. And that is so crazy to live in a world where I just remember when they were like, whenever they were showing off the PS3, and they were like, this is what Final Fantasy VII would look like on the PS3. And then at the end they were like, it's just a tech demo, we're really not making it, we're just pretty much bending you over. It's not really a game, we're just showing you what it would look like. And that pissed off a lot of people. But it's nice to see that they are remaking it. I don't care if it takes 2 more years for them to show off this game, release this game, just as long as they get it right. And from there, they showed off a couple games that Devolver Digital is releasing on PlayStation 4 first. Really neat looking indie games. You have Ronin, Eter, Mother Russia Bleeds, and Crossing Souls. They were interesting looking indie games of their respect, but it was pretty much a sizzle reel. So I hold my opinion on those games just for the fact that I only saw 2 or 3 seconds in between all of those games. And then they came out with Yu Suzuki, sorry about that, I forgot his name for a second, and announced that Shenmue III is coming to PS4 if you kickstart it. There's a little if there, which I'm sure this game will end up getting kickstarted, and it will be PC and PS4 exclusive from what they say. Maybe there'll be stretch goals later that'll make it come out to other games, or maybe Sony is gonna step in and try to make sure that it's only PC and PS4 exclusive. And Yu Suzuki implicitly said that this is not a reboot, this is a follow-up to the first 2 games, and I know a lot of people are very interested to get their hands on this game, and I'm sure by the time I click off this camera, this game will probably already have almost $1 million on their Kickstarter, and it's only been a few hours up. But that was the thing. I can't believe Shenmue 3, who would have thought, honestly. Then they showed off some Batman Arkham City Scarecrow Nightmare missions. They just showed off a little trailer of what they will be. Seems very interesting, kind of creepy, kind of horror-esque, and I'm sure those will be very fun to play. They talked a little bit about Morpheus, and the interesting thing that they did show that caught my attention is that Guerrilla Cambridge is making a Morpheus game called Riggs, which is kind of like a mech-like game, 3 versus 3. Looks interesting. Not too sold on VR yet, me personally, but I'm sure that they'll show some amazing game that I'll have to play on it. And they showed other little games like World War Tunes, which apparently was another VR game. Then PlayStation, they talked a little bit about PlayStation View. They released it for LA and San Francisco now, and there's options that let you, just buy a channel itself, from what I understand, and you don't have to bundle. It seems really interesting, and they said that PlayStation Plus members will get discounts for PlayStation View. So, me myself, as somebody who doesn't watch a whole lot of TV, but does watch a few select channels, I'm interested in seeing the pricing that goes on, and if it's reasonable, might just end up cutting the cable cord and doing PlayStation View, and that'd be fine with me as long as it's not super expensive. Then the big one, PlayStation is partnering with Activision, and DLC, for the first time ever, is coming first to PlayStation consoles. That's right. The deal with Microsoft is over, and PlayStation is getting DLC first. I imagine it'll be around the same deal that they had with Microsoft. So the DLC will come, and it'll be two and a half months later, and then Microsoft will get it. But they also showed off some co-op that you can play in the single player, and of course the amazing multiplayer. And I may just change my mind in getting Black Ops 3. Not sure on that yet, but it does seem like a very interesting game, and I'm going to keep my eye on it. Then they showed off some Star Wars Disney Infinity 3.0 stuff. They said Disney Infinity is getting Star Wars content, and it's coming to PlayStation first. And anybody who likes Disney Infinity, who is a kid and ready to know more about Star Wars, is probably very excited about this announcement. And it seems to be coming to PlayStation first for at least a month, from what they talked about. Then more Star Wars Battlefront, and every time I see this game, even today, when I first saw it, I was like, it looks good, but the more I see it, the more excited I am about it. And then they finally closed with Uncharted 4. It was a quick demo that they showed, and it just showed off some vehicle stuff and certain combat, and I'm just ready to see the game, honestly. I'm ready to see how this game plays, and there's a couple parts in the demo. Well, Sully is back, and he's kicking ass, like literally running up and punching people in the face. It looks awesome and beautiful. There was a slight glitch, like they had to reboot the demo when it seems like there might have been a controller issue, because whenever it went from cutscene to gameplay, the character wasn't moving, so they had to restart the demo. But that's all fine and good, and that just shows off that it was a demo and not a, pre-recorded gameplay footage or anything like that. And it looks to be shaping up real good. The graphics are impeccable. Sully looks a little bit younger, honestly, even though I know this is a sequel. Once again, probably just the technology. Just like Drake kind of looks a lot different than he did in previous games. So it's probably just the facial capture technology that they're using. But other than that, that pretty much wrapped up Sony's E3 press conference. And one thing I was kind of disappointed in, that I was hoping they would sneak in at the very end, was Sony Ben's game, which they didn't mention at all, which I'm sure they'll talk about more maybe later in the year, or maybe next year, who knows. But other than that, great showing. It might have just kicked everybody's ass, and I'm actually proud to see Sony not fuck up. I expected them to fuck up in some way or another, and they didn't really, honestly. You know, with the momentum building, I figured they would trip up somewhere, and I thought it was going to be whenever they showed off Morpheus. And I think they've learned their lessons in talking about technology that they can't really demo or show. You know, like the Wonder Book, which was ridiculous when they showed a 20-minute demo of that. But they only briefly talked about Morpheus, and they showed a sizzle reel of several games and talked about the one big one that Gorilla Cambridge is coming out with. And then they said, if you want to try it on the show floor. That is the best thing they could have done for Project Morpheus. And maybe it will be a peripheral that people will pick up. I'm interested in seeing more. Me, in my opinion, I'm set in my ways as TV screen and controller experience, but maybe there will be that one game that changes my mind. Hopefully Sony is the company to make me change my mind. But that's pretty much all of my impressions. I cannot believe how good of a job that Sony did. I cannot believe about The Last Guardian and Horizon and all of these other great games that they showed off. I can't wait to see more, and I'm sure we will PlayStation Experience Paris Games, game show? Paris Games Show, is that what they call it? I know they're skipping Gamescom and going to Paris Games Show or whatever it's called this year, so I'm sure that'll be a big thing to show off. Quantic Dreams game may make an appearance in Paris Games Show since that's so close to them. So we'll see more from Sony this year, and I'm sure there's some IP that they just held back for other shows. You know, we still have TGS and other shows in general. But all in all, great showing. I can't believe that they didn't fuck up, and that's my impressions. If you like this video, like it, follow me on Twitter, I'm at Brian Poteet. Subscribe to the show, share it with your friends, and have a great night. I'm going to bed.